All right, everyone, welcome back to Quality Matters. I'm your hostess, Darcy Chambers.
I'm Kyle.
I'll let him tag along on every episode. He's so lucky. I really wish that we could have a behind the scenes of getting this set up. Kyle's very particular about how things go and the angle. We're trying a new angle today for the video.
We put all these on YouTube, and as folks have probably noticed, it's not always the best quality.
But he's excited because today we're recording at the Cannon in Houston. We booked ourselves a room, and so since we've got a little more space and lighting to work with, he's played with the lights, he's played with the camera, he's played with everything. So I hope you guys enjoy these episodes that we're recording today.
By the way, if you're on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe down there at the bottom and check the bell so you get notifications that these come up.
Subscribe and the bell. You have to do both.
Got to do both.
Got to do both. Okay, so I finally finished the Start With Why book.
Yay!
Yay! So I keep saying we're going to start a mini series, and Kyle keeps reminding me that we've already done a couple of episodes. So he's going to kind of bring those to the forefront and pull them in.
There'll be a whole page on the website dedicated to it.
Yeah. So as I was reading the book, I was like, oh, we've got to talk about this. And then I thought, ooh, the book is copyrighted. I don't know if we can. But then the very last sentence of Simon Sinek's Start With Why book says, if this book inspired you, please pass it on to someone you want to inspire. So I feel like we can share.
And we're not taking credit for nothing that's said in here.
We're not taking credit. It's all Simon Sinek.
Yep.
So I do have my book open. I have my notes that I took. I didn't want to read to you, but I think it's going to be a little bit of reading. So this one was very interesting to me because it's about Walmart. And when he first mentioned Walmart, because a lot of companies that he mentions in here are companies that did well and did things well. And it's interesting to note that I grew up in Arkansas.
Correct.
About an hour and a half south of where Walmart started in Bentonville.
Yeah.
So, he mentioned Walmart. So, of course, that brought up some good feelings for me. But then I thought, why Walmart?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing well? Well.
There's lots of good information in here. And it can be applied to many aspects of your business. I mean, this isn't just a sales type stuff.
No. This is starting with why, which helps your business to be a quality business and to give quality service and quality products, all those kinds of things. So we're going to kind of go a little bit through the history of Sam Walton. He opened Walmart. We're not going to go that far back. He opened Walmart in 1962 in Bentonville, Arkansas. It grew from one store to $44 billion in annual sales. And 40 million people shopping per week.
That's just mind-boggling.
I don't know if it said the time period that it grew, but still, just an idea of one man. The thing was, it wasn't the only discount store around. Target was already open.
Oh,
Actually,
really?
Target opened the same year.
Really?
And discount stores were already a $2 billion industry when he opened his one.
Really?
Yep.
See, I didn't realize that. I just assumed Walmart was more on the leading edge.
Nope. Apparently not. Sam Walton has admitted to borrowing ideas from other businesses. And so he talked about why was he so successful? Because he knew his why. He believed in people. And this is where I'm going to read to you a little bit. He believed that if he looked after people, people would look after him. The more Walmart could give to their employees, their customers, and the community, the more they would all give back to him. He is quoted for saying, "We're all working together. That's the secret."
Very interesting.
And so that was his why. Well, yeah, that was his why, and Walmart is the what to his why.
Makes sense.
He was in service to other people. And for instance, he went in to work on Saturdays because his employees had to work on Saturdays. And he thought, well, it's not fair.
No, it's not. I mean, that's the way it should be with good leadership.
Yeah. He remembered birthdays, anniversaries, and that a cashier's mother had gallbladder surgery.
Oh, wow.
He's a very thoughtful person, and that's something I wish I was, like, especially today, in today's social media age. you scroll and you see things that people say or that are going on in their lives, good or bad.
Yeah.
And then you see them in person.
And then you don't mention a thing about it.
I forget.
Yeah.
I think, oh my gosh, I should have asked you about it. Or they'll mention it. I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw that on Facebook. I'm so sorry. I meant to ask you. And, you feel so bad. But, he did it without Facebook.
Yeah.
Which is also something we've talked about previously, the CEO that wrote however many birthday
like
cards.
9,200, I think.
Yeah, in a year.
Ridiculous.
So, it's similar to that. He did not like that his executives drove expensive cars. He resisted using the corporate jet for years. He finally gave in, but he resisted it for a lot of years. And he never forgot where he came from. This kind of reminds me of me and you, because obviously everybody wants to grow their business to $1 million business or whatever.
We're going to hit with $2 billion this year, right?
Yeah, $2 billion.
That's it.
As its conservative estimate.
Yes, conservative, very, very conservative.
And so, of course, I'm like, well, here's what I want to do when we get that money. And not that it's going to change who I am. I would just like some nicer things. Kyle, on the other hand, is going to be Sam Walton. He says, I still can't believe that it's news where I get my hair cut. Where else would I get it cut? At the barbershop. I mean, he goes to the barbershop. He said, where else would I get it cut?
Yep.
And then he says, why do I drive a pickup? Well, what am I supposed to haul my dogs around in, a Rolls Royce?
I agree.
So he was the person he aimed to serve, the everyman.
Yeah.
And I think that's a term that Simon Sinek has coined because he used it later in his book, the everyman, the everyday man that's out just earning a living and needing things to get by. So one of the things that I really like when he started out, he built his stores in rural communities so that the everyman didn't have to drive to urban centers to get the supplies they needed. That's a big cost on the everyman in time and money. You gotta spend the gas.
Well, I mean, I grew up out in the middle of, nowhere Redneckville. And, I mean, it really is 30 minutes, sometimes just to get to a daggum gas station. So, I mean, this is actually a very good, very valid point, but that is not at all that is not the common sense place to put a huge, large store.
No.
Not at all. It's not the common sense place.
But that's where he grew up.
Yeah.
And today you wouldn't think, if you're from Arkansas or know anything about Arkansas, Bentonville is kind of an up and coming area. So you wouldn't think of it as a rural area. But at the time it was. So, of course, like I said, when he mentioned Walmart, I was like, ugh, I just didn't really like.
We all get kind of that icky feeling.
Yeah, it's not a very good feeling.
Yeah.
So
but you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah. Well, and Simon talks about that, and we're going to talk about it. In 1992, it says Walmart lost their why. Sam Walton died.
Okay.
He was involved in the business.
Well, it sounds like very.
Yeah, I think until he couldn't.
Yeah.
So the new Walmart confused its why, which was to serve people, with its how, which was offering low prices.
Yep.
So then they kind of started with their schemes, low price, and Simon Sinek talks about that earlier in the book, the gimmicks, the things that just keep people in. So this is why Walmart makes us feel icky. As of December of 2008, it's been scandal-ridden and has had 73 class action lawsuits related to wage violations.
Oh, just wage violations. Oh, wow.
And those are your employees.
Yeah.
And Sam Walton stood for taking care of his employees, knowing their birthdays, their anniversaries, their everything. And they've paid hundreds of millions in past judgments and settlements, which is not what Sam Walton believed.
And it's really not that long of a period of time to go that far off the rails. I mean, we're only talking about, just a decade to get to it. Yeah.
10, 20, was it 20 years?
Not even.
30.
No, it's not even since 2008. 2008, this is like...
Well, he died in 92.
Right.
Yeah, so that's as of 2008.
And it's not like all of this stuff came to a head in 2008. I mean, this would have been like the day after his passing the wheels start turning in different directions.
So yeah, from 92 to 2008.
Yeah,
That's about
that's
16
not
years.
much.
That's a lot. It just fell apart. So yeah, like we said, it makes us feel, you mix in Walmart, it makes you feel icky.
Yep.
We can't put our finger on it because again, Simon Sinek talks earlier in the book about the part of us that like we can't explain why we love somebody.
Yeah.
So we pick out actions that they do or things like that. So we point to their size and their money. Mm-hmm. And we say, oh, it's because they're so big and they.
Well, and that goes along with just kind of our general distaste for anyone that's better than us. And so it's like we can pinpoint that and say, that's why they're so terrible.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's that is it. It's just because they're so big. Yeah. And even their stores are huge. Yeah. Like, I grew up obviously in a small town. Mm-hmm. I was about an hour and a half from where Walmart started. It was a big deal when we got a Walmart in our town. Yeah. It was a big deal. And it wasn't that big. And I remember when I moved here to Houston and I went to the Walmart Supercenter, I was like, yeah. But now whenever we travel, like I think over Thanksgiving we traveled and we went into a small Walmart. We had to get some medicine for our daughter and I was like, this is so tiny.
Right, but it's still huge.
Yeah.
But it's tiny for Walmart standards.
Yeah, and so I think that's part of it. And it was still the grocery store and the retail store, but it was so small, and that made me feel good. That made me feel like home. Okay. So just their enormous size, like I hate going to Walmart. You know this.
Yes.
I hate going to Walmart. It's so big. To park is so far away. It doesn't matter where you park, and it's just like if you've got to get more than 3 or 4 things, you're all over the store, and there's people everywhere. Ugh, I hate it. Yeah. But when you're in the small town, it's not.
I get it.
And not only because it's smaller in a small town, but again, the parking lot is not as big, so you can usually get it. But then when we went in there, I went to the pharmacy to pick up the medicine, and the pharmacist looked at the guy behind me and said, oh, hey, Kyle, I'll be right with you, no problem. Right. And they knew people, and that's what Walmart, I believe that's what Sam Walton wanted Walmart to be about.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it would have been. That personal touch, it matters, and it matters a lot. I mean, just forget Walmart for a minute. Just go back to your workplace, right? I mean, we've all had that manager that doesn't know a darn thing about us. I mean, I'm not talking about being buddy friends with your people. But
just know what's going on.
Yeah, and you have to remind them 5 times that you got kids. It's you have that same basic conversation over and over. You need a personal touch. I mean, okay, I guess this will be a plug for the training we got coming up. But
You mean the QMS boot camp?
Yes, the QMS boot camp.
That's in April?
In April. Here
and you can sign up on QMSbootcamp.com?
That's it.
Okay.
But we spend nearly half of the course not even talking about anything technical. It is all about the basic skills, personal skills, psychological ideas. Just what's it take to connect to these folks to get people to radically change the way they're doing business. Mm-hmm. It's the same idea here.
Well, I mean, I could share a personal experience. I don't know if I should, but, it was about 12 years ago. We found out we were pregnant with our first son. Mm-hmm. And I went to share with my assistant boss, we'll call it. And she was very excited for me. And she said, have you told the boss yet?
Right.
And I said no, and she and I both knew why. But about that time, the boss had rounded the corner. Mm-hmm. And, obviously this was something I'd wanted all my life, was to be a mom. Yep. As soon as we got married, I said, all right, let's do this. And I was a little bit older, 27-ish. Yeah. And so she very exciting is the point. She rounded the corner and she said, tell me what? And I said, oh, I just found out I'm pregnant. And she goes, I thought so. Yeah. And I just thought, wow. And she's a mom, know? And I just thought, wow, that's not the reaction you want. You want your boss to care about you and be happy for you. Mm-hmm. But as a manager, all she cared about is, I'm going to have to cover this person's maternity leave.
Yep. But, it sounds like, again, these kind of same things from here. So Sam Walton clearly obviously cared about not only the people that worked for him, but I'm sure he knew all sorts of details and fun facts about the customers that frequented his stores. So you gotta have that personal touch. But then it goes into just creating an environment where folks can express themselves, can have ideas. I mean, that's part of what I hate so much about some of the way these corporate structures are, is it's either this top-down kind of totalitarian way of this is how we're going to do it, just follow, and that leads to wage issues and stuff like this. You get people cheating to hit the target.
Yep.
Because I'm sure that's where you're going here, but it's been a while since I read the book. But if your target is to care for people and you know that your profit's going to be a result, they'll work out for you. If you care about the profits first, folks will do whatever it takes to hit that mile marker.
That's why it's so frustrating that the successors couldn't see that it worked just fine the way Sam Walton was doing it. So let's do something more to improve on that, but don't change it. So at the time, start with why it was written. I like my numbers. An investment in Walmart the day Sam Walton died would have gained you 300%. Not bad.
Yeah.
The same investment on the same day in Costco would have gained you 800%.
Woo! So what's Costco doing the Walmart ain't?
Well, I guess taking care of their employees. So it talks about a CEO that followed Walton took a $430,000 salary, which is relatively low for a CEO.
Right.
But when you compare it to Walton at Walmart's peak, he never took more than $350,000. Never took more than that. Because that's his why.
That's what he needed, yeah.
And so I really like how he kind of Simon Sinek wrapped up this study. He said, at the time this book was written, 3 more CEOs have attempted to carry the torch, but the why grows dimmer.
Right.
There's new hope in Michael T. Duke, who is not the CEO anymore. I looked it up.
Okay.
So there was new hope in Michael T. Duke, and his hope is to restore the torch, the clarity, and the why.
Yeah.
And he started by paying himself $5.43 million.
Well, that's just the best way to do it, if you're well compensated, you'll be more apt to help people, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
I guess so. I don't know.
Well, let's try it here. We'll see.
What, pay you $5.43 million?
Yeah, it's not $2 billion. We can afford it.
I mean, I'm not going to argue because you should save your paycheck to me.
But no, it's just.
And just to go back to the personal story I shared, I mean, that was 12 years ago, and I remember
it clearly.
I can see every detail. I mean, probably not what everybody was wearing.
Right.
But I know where we were standing in the building. I know how she rounded the corner. I can see the look on her face. And that was the morning as my day started. They were the first people at work that I told.
Let me ask you this. The folks at this organization, were they cooperative with one another or competitive and territorial?
It depends on who it was.
It's a general.
But it was not a good environment.
Yeah. It's just probably the last thing before we wrap up here, but someone else I was talking to recently, they're part of a large, multinational corporate conglomeration, right? And you would assume that each of the individual business units within these large organizations would work to support each other. If one has the resources the other needs, and then there would be a give and take. But there's not. They're all very harshly territorial about their numbers. They have a metric that they have to hit. And if helping the guy next door in the same organization
means hurting your numbers.
Will hurt your numbers, you can't do it.
That's terrible. One other thing before we wrap up, I was just kind of looking around, like I looked at the CEOs, trying to get a history of the CEOs and different. Oh, whoops! So sorry about that. I did. I don't. That's what happens when I check it. Then it. Anyways, sorry. So before we wrap up, there was it was on Wikipedia, which I know is not the most reliable, but
good enough.
There was a section on charity about Walmart, and I said, "Oh, let me look at that."
Yeah.
Well, Sam Walton did not believe in charity. He believed that what he did was his powerful force for good. He would not contribute to philanthropic causes. And he said that they cannot be expected to solve every personal problem that comes to their attention. And he said, we feel strongly that Walmart really is not and should not be in the charity business, and any debit has to be passed along to somebody, either the shareholders or the customers. So he believes strongly against it. Since his death, however, Walmart has dramatically increased charitable giving. In 2005, they donated $20 million in cash and merchandise for Hurricane Katrina relief. And now they give away about $1 billion each year. Now, which I think is great. But as I pointed out to you when I was talking about it, if they would, I feel like it's one of their gimmicks. Right. Like, look how much we're giving away and look at all the people we're helping.
What's the better, flashy thing on the news or now on social media or whatever, or in the newspaper 10 years ago, is, hey, we gave away $1 billion to such and such, and we gave away this. That looks great in that split second. Whereas a headline of Walmart pays 10% more than everyone else to help folks have a decent living wage.
But
that's not exciting.
I think it is. I mean, I've said a number of times how much Buc-ee's pays their employees. They advertise it.
That's
and
true.
I've told, young college kids that are looking for a job, I'm like, go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
They pay their people well, so I'm sure they take care of you well. I feel like they wouldn't have to do, this is just another gimmick, like you said, another headline to get their name out there. Yep. But people just don't trust them. One of the things in the notes that I didn't read was about Costco and Walmart each enacting an environmental policy or something. Right. They did it at the same time, but people bought into Costco's more just because they trust Costco more than they trust Walmart. Same thing. Like, oh yeah, Walmart gave $1 billion. They could have given $2 billion. Like it doesn't matter what your headline is. If you're not taking care of your employees, people are not going to buy into it.
Well, and I mean, Walmart, it's not like they employ a small portion of people, right?
Oh, yeah.
So just imagine the good that can be done for a community simply when people earn a better wage.
Exactly. They can give to charity themselves.
Yeah.
They can give
and then
back.
But this is all the basics of free market, right? So if they're making more money and they're happier with their life, then they're more apt to go spend money to someone else, and it all grows and works and benefits the world. But I don't know, we're going a little over what we normally do here, but I really want folks to stop and think about, what is it that makes Walmart give you that icky feeling that you don't get maybe when you go to Target or Costco or any of these other similar big box places. I get icky feeling
at Target too.
Well, okay. But try to think about what is it that causes that. I mean, yours is just because they remodeled the place. You don't like the way they remodeled it.
I'm not the only one that has a problem with that.
Okay, fine, but that's not where I'm going here. But think about it. And these boil down to like simple trust issues. They've got their target set at the wrong place. How's your target at your job affecting your performance and the performance of your people? We could go on and on for hours and hours about it, but that's kind of what I'd like people to leave with.
What I would like the headline to see, instead of Walmart gives, $1 billion a year, Walmart increases wages $1 billion a year, a region at a time. Because, you spread $1 billion out over all their employees, that's not going to be okay. But say, hey, okay, we can make an effective change with this region with $1 billion. Well, now, next year, we're going to do this region, and the next year, we're going to increase this region.
Well, think about that with the hurricane, right? So, whether it was Katrina or Harvey that came through here recently, what if Walmart said, tell you what, we know everyone's suffering right now, and a lot of people have probably lost jobs because the businesses are blown under. We're having a big hiring frenzy, and we're paying well. Mm-hmm. That would have a huge impact on the local community.
And just a note, there's never any lanes open.
No.
They've got 30, what are they doing?
I don't know.
So, they've still got...
Again,
they don't even have employees to pay.
I think it's just a gimmick. It's another gimmick. But
we're way over.
Yeah, we're way over. We got to stop it. But dude, think about it. What is it that makes it icky? And that's I guess the most technical term we got for it.
And that's the term that he used in the book.
Oh, really?
He gives us an icky feeling.
Okay. Well, it's been a while since I read, but yes, it's just the best term for it. So, just how can you take that to your workplace? Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Thanks for listening. Okay, let's reset this now.
Okay, let's reset it. We'll hit stop and start.
Okay.